The Guardian has a headline that says, Hot Mic catches Putin and Xi discussing organ transplants and immortality. Again, to me, that's a shocking headline with all that they have to talk about. Let me read from this article some fascinating information here. It says the Russian president was in Beijing on Wednesday with the Chinese leader, who hosted allies for a ceremony to mark the 80th anniversary of the end of the Second World War. As Putin and Xi walked at the head of a delegation of foreign leaders, state media aired live footage that captured parts of what appeared to be a private conversation. While they made their way towards a raised platform in Tiananmen Square, Putin's interpreter could be heard saying in Chinese, biotechnology is continuously developing. After a brief inaudible passage, the interpreter added, human organs can be continuously transplanted. The longer you live, the younger you become, and you can even achieve immortality. And Xi, who was off camera, could be heard responding in Chinese. Some predict that in this century, humans may live to 150 years old. Putin confirmed later to reporters he had discussed prospects for significantly increasing human life expectancy with Xi. Now, it goes on to say this, sections of Russia's elite, including Putin, have long been fascinated with longevity and the science of extending life. So this is something that evidently the elite in Russia are obsessed with. It says in 2024, Putin instructed lawmakers to establish a research center called New Health Preservation Technologies dedicated to combating aging. The project focuses on developing technologies that prevent cellular aging, neurotechnologies, and other innovations aimed at ensuring longevity. I'll just add here, I think Vladimir Putin's about 74, 75 years of age, something like that. So he's beginning to think about his own mortality. It says here, according to an earlier investigation by the independent Russian outlet Meduza, Mikhail Kovalchuk, a longtime family confidant of Vladimir Putin, is leading Russia's research into immortality, a subject that he and other influential figures close to the Kremlin are reportedly obsessed with. Meduza reported that Kovalchuk has invested in organ printing technology that uses lab-grown cells to produce replacement organs. Now, it goes on and says this, Putin's eldest daughter is an endocrinologist who's received multi-million-dollar Russian government grants to study cell renewal and ways to extend human health and longevity, and is involved in the genetic research program. So his own daughter is even deeply involved in this. So the president of Russia, Vladimir Putin, is preoccupied with his health and with longevity. Now, neither of these leaders, Putin or Xi, show any inclination in the near future to relinquish power. They won't consider any notion that their power has a shelf life. Putin has changed Russian law so he can remain in power till 2036, and everyone knows that he can remain in power after that because he can just change the law again if he wants to. Xi abolished term limits in China in 2018, so now he's dictator for life, and he wants that life to be forever. Here's an interesting headline in the Washington Post. Who wants to live forever? Xi and Putin, apparently. Here's another headline in The Guardian. I want to read you a quote from this that is really good. It said, The Guardian has a headline that says, people can get younger, perhaps even immortal, Putin's pursuit of longevity. And it says this is the stuff of Bond villains. Two aging autocrats, their younger ally in tow, ambled down a red-carpeted ramp before a military parade in Beijing when a hot mic picked up a question that seemed to be on their minds. How long could they keep going? And between the lines, might science allow them to rule forever? And that's what they want. That's what their conversation was really about. They want to live forever, and they want to rule forever. And I believe that this exchange between these leaders is kind of a chilling preview of what the Antichrist will be like. Because all of these megalomaniac world leaders and dictators all share a lot of unique characteristics. You go back in history, a lot of these leaders in ancient history have tried to find the fountain of youth or some formula, to live forever. But think about the Antichrist. He's going to be violently assassinated and come back to life. He's going to be violently assassinated. He's going to go down to the abyss. And I think he's going to be totally taken over by Satan, and he's going to come back to life. So think about this. his return, when he returns from the abyss, I think he'll come out with the belief that he's immortal. You think he's died and been violently killed and come back to life. He'll be so intoxicated with power, but I think he'll believe then at that point that he'll never die. And he'll believe this to such an extent that he's going to, at the midpoint of the tribulation period, declare that he is God. And obviously his view that he's God would encompass within it the idea that he's going to live forever. And you think about this even further, at the very end of the tribulation period in Revelation 19, at the Battle of Armageddon, when Jesus comes back to destroy the armies that are gathered there, the armies of the Antichrist, it's interesting, it's very clear there that God does not take his life. Jesus doesn't take his life. It's almost as if he says, okay, you believed you're God, and you believe you can live forever, then I'm not going to take your life, but I'm going to cast you into the lake of fire. He says he's cast alive, he and the false prophet, into the lake of fire. And of course, they go immediately there, and the Bible calls that the second death, or that's eternal death. That just simply means eternal separation from God. The first death is spiritual death, there's physical death, but this is the ultimate second death. I mean, it's eternal death. See, only God has inherent immortality. God never had a beginning, and God would never have an ending. Now, as human beings, we all have a beginning, but the Bible does tell us we will not have an ending. We will live on somewhere. Now, we won't live here on earth forever, but we will live somewhere forever. And that's a very sobering thing to just pause and think about for a moment for yourself, maybe for your spouse, your children, your grandchildren, people that you love. We will all live somewhere forever. We all will. We don't have a choice of whether we're going to live forever. We're going to live somewhere forever. And I just want to encourage all of you to make sure that you've accepted Jesus Christ, and that somewhere that you will live forever will be in heaven with him. And you do that by accepting and receiving Jesus Christ to be your Savior.